So the next step after delivery has happened is exploitation, right? So now you have fallen victim, or anybody can fall victim, right? So next is, how do these bad guys exploit you? That's the next step in the kill chain. So exploitation is a very important step, because this is when the game kind of starts for them. So they basically go in and check for vulnerabilities in your system. Like, what is the operating system running? What are the different patches? Are you updating your system? If not, then what are the 0 days associated with that? And basically, based on the vulnerabilities, they will execute code on the victim's machine, on your infrastructure, on your network, right? And that's how they exploit. And to execute code, first they have to do the next step, that's installation. They need to go out there and install some kind of malware once they have known what kind of loopholes are there in your network, right? So then next phase is installation, where the bad guys are basically installing malware on your company's assets. They're literally installing software which is not approved, malware which is not supposed to be there, and it's all hidden now, right? So after the installation happens, it's a very now clear-cut thing. You are kind of exposed, So now next step is what comes into play is the C2, and C2 is the command and control center, from where the intruders are basically watching and also controlling the devices, the computers, the servers on which they have installed their malware, right? And the command channel is basically your remote manipulation, of a victim, and that's what the command channel is supposed to do: take hold of the victim remotely and kind of manipulate whatever they want to do, right? And the last one is basically actions on objectives. If there's an objective behind it, they'll go in and get those into play. And basically, with the hands-on keyboard access, maybe it could be something like that, intruders accomplish basically their original goals, which are intended in this case, that is getting you compromised, getting you to a spot, to a point where now you're through specifically following a kill chain, through a specific 7-step device process, they have got their victim compromised, right? Interesting concept, kill chain. This is not the first time this concept was introduced. The next slide will tell you that. So this model has been prevalent in the military world, and one of the older military kill chain model, it is known as F2 T2 EA, which includes the following phases. So there are 2 Fs, 2 Ts, and 1 is EA. So the first F stands for find, and that is locate the target. You gotta understand where the target is, what the target is. So it's find. Out there was reconnaissance, right? So here is find. Then is fix. So then the fix part, the second F is fix, and fix is basically fixating on their location, or make it difficult for them to move, make it difficult for the target to move, and that is find and fix, right? And then there is T2, that is track and target. So you find, fix, track, target. So you find a target, you fixate on it, then you track it. You monitor all the movements, you monitor what are the different patterns, so that is all part of tracking. And then you do selecting an appropriate weapon, that is targeting it, and basically your asset or use of the target to create desired effect. So you select that malware strain, you select that particular strain which you want to put out there, and then once you have done the fix find, that is F2, track target, then the next 2 steps are E and A, that is engage and assess. So engage is basically applying your weapons, and assess is evaluating the effects of the attack. This is basically, it includes any kind of intelligence gathering which has happened, any kind of information which has come out to your C2 and so forth, right? So mainly the F2 T2 EA model, very prevalent in the military world, and this model has been there before your kill chain model, which I just explained to you earlier, and the 7-step model, right? So basically, these days, these models are kind of integrated end-to-end processes which describe a kill chain, because any interruption in any stage can basically collapse or interrupt the entire process. So it has to go through its phases. It has to go first. First, it has to go through the find, fix. Then it has to go through track. Then it has to go through target, engage, and then assess. Okay, so that's a good way to understand your kill chain. All right. So now next is actually, we talk about kill chain. Let's talk about the life cycle of APT, right? So this is a life cycle diagram which is actually I found it online. It is very well documented by Mandiant, and Mandiant, those of you who don't know, is a well-respected cybersecurity firm, and it deals with APT1, and this is actually the APT1 life cycle. And Mandiant, after doing a lot of research, has come up with this specific cycle of APTs, which is being used across the industry, and it's definitely very prevalent, very well respected, based on the experience which it comes with from the Mandiant and its staff members, and also the kind of attention to detail which they have made into the life cycle itself, right? So I'll be using this Mandiant life cycle and explaining to you the attack life cycle model, right? And first thing is the APT1. I'll post a link also, but I'll explain APT1 to you separately. But it is a nation state group, and this is basically a government group which basically does cyber espionage, and this unit is based in China, APT1, referred to as. All right. So if you look at this particular cycle, right? So they talked about different steps, and I'm going to quickly get you introduced with those steps, right? Okay, the first one is reconnaissance here also. So that one is the first step. We're trying to understand what are they doing, what is the main purpose here, right? The technology, and different different kind of technologies are there. So you kind of identify the target, and then the next stage is basically to be attacked. So like what kind of attack you want to launch there, right? So once it is defined, and then you move to the other steps. That is initial compromise, which means you get into the network, you break into the system, and you do your initial compromise part, right? And once it is once you kind of move into your initial compromise, and you understand the network more, right? And you start breaking the system into different components, and you try to understand those, try to do your information gathering, and basically the different threat actors they determine their targets, and they gain initial entry to the network. So then now you have all the different variants of I would say information coming through also. And this could actually be done through compromised endpoint or compromised devices through which are sitting on the endpoints, and even using compromised accounts, right? Because if you get hold of a username and password, that gives you direct access into sensitive areas and sensitive information. And these ones, the authentication is very easy if you go through compromised accounts or even through endpoint device compromise, right? And it gives you basically it opens up the internal network of that place for you.